up, you guys? Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thanks for tuning in today. We are getting into some news about the Warriors and how their stats are actually better without their rookie. And we're also talking about the Patriots and some moves they might be making at the quarterback position. But before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JRayTheFanatic. And happy Taco Tuesday! I'm on it now. You know, the only reason I'm on it is because I went grocery shopping yesterday and got some stuff for Taco Tuesday. That's why I'm on it. Otherwise, I probably forgot again.
Okay, so what kind of tacos are you making today?
So I am making... well, it's imitate. I used to make a really good taco. I know it sounds weird, but it's delicious. But I've been trying to my meat intake, so it's imitation crab. So I've never actually tried imitation crab before. It's like the vegan version of it. So I'm trying, my vegan version of tacos. So I will tell you tomorrow if it was good. But I did. They let me sample it because I went to like this specialty shop. They let me sample it. It tasted good, so I can't imagine it wouldn't taste good in the taco. So we'll see.
Oh my gosh, can you please send a picture of these tacos in the Fumble crew chat? Because I want to see what they look like. That sounds so good to me.
All right.
Also, I'm having some audio issues right now for some reason. I don't know. I'm having a little trouble hearing your voice coming through the mic, Jackie, for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's my issue over here. But, send a picture of those tacos in the Fumble Crew chat on Slack because I really want to see them. I didn't even think about tacos today. I don't have anything that I could even use to make tacos, but maybe I'll have to do something creative like you and put something together or just go out for tacos and have somebody else make them for me because that sounds so good. But sounds like a great day that you have ahead of you. Let's jump into the news, okay? Let's talk about the Warriors here really quickly. So an interesting advanced stat actually shows how the Warriors are better offensively and defensively without James Wiseman, who was obviously their 2020 draft lottery pick. So they've won 8 out of their last 11 games, and the latest victory that they had was against the Sacramento Kings. It was 117-113. Steph Curry was once again absolutely on fire, and he scored 37.7 rebounds and 4 assists. So I love seeing Steph just absolutely killing it, going out there and really just impressing everybody with these numbers. And it's cool to see that he's kind of continuing on that streak. Of course, there was that one game where he only scored, 18 points against the Wizards, I think it was. But yeah, so it's cool to see him doing so well, but it's also interesting to note that now that they don't have James on the floor with them, James Wiseman, they're actually doing better. And since Wiseman's injury, the Warriors are ranked number 1 in net rating, number 1 in defensive rating, and number 4 in offensive rating. So overall, Jackie, do you think it's possible that James Wiseman was bringing them down a little bit, or have they just kind of found this cool groove that they're working with right now and it has nothing to do with their rookie no longer playing with them?
Yeah, I don't even know how to make that make sense, that it's the rookie's fault. When you've got vets on your team, people who have been there, done that, the rookie should not really impact what happens with the Warriors one way or another. Yes, they might take a little bit more time to get him in the swing of things. But if he's not stepping up to the plate properly, which I'm not going to say he's not doing that. I mean, he's averaging, I think, 11.5 points a game or something like that. And as a rookie, that's about where you want to be if you're not just an amazing standout star. So I think it's weird to even try to put this on the rookie. I think what we're seeing is exactly what you said. They're finally getting into their groove. Steph has not, until recently, probably until the month of April, he hasn't really shown that he's ready to step in and really be all that the Warriors kind of need. And that's, I think, more what we're seeing now versus putting this on the rookie. It's a weird thought process to say that a rookie is going to come into an established team and really throw them off. Perhaps the mindset is they were trying so hard to work him into their system that maybe that caused them some sort of downfall. But I don't think he was getting enough real attention, real hands on the ball for that to be a thing. I think that they were very methodical in how they were trying to work him into the system. It was a slow and steady kind of work in. So it's just not possible when you're thinking about a team like like the Warriors, to blame it on any kind of rookie that comes in there. So I think that was just it's just a narrative that doesn't make sense to me.
So you would say that it's too soon to call James Wiseman a bust, and that it has nothing to do. The Warriors' success as of late has nothing to do with him being out.
Yeah, no, it's way too soon to call him a bust. And I see Jeremiah, just stay mad, stay mad. He said, "What do you mean, Jackie? Wiseman jumps up at every fake, and Steph has been playing." That's pretty much exactly what I said. You know, whatever he's doing as a rookie right now is not it's not tangible to what their success or their failures. It's just not. He's a rookie. He's in this learning curve. We've seen Draymond Green try to coach him up. We've seen Steph try to coach him up. They obviously have confidence in the kid, and it's way too soon to say that he's a bust. He's barely getting started. It's not. He doesn't even know who he is with the Warriors. And to be fair, the Warriors don't really know who they are yet. They're still in this whole process of figuring out who they are now that they're in this whole moment in time where they're not this juggernaut that they used to be. So it's not a fair statement to say, you know, he's the reason for it when we're just now seeing Steph step up the way that he should. It's not a fair statement to make.
Do you think that this happens with other teams too, like where they do put a lot of attention and energy into nurturing and helping out the rookie, that maybe when the rookie is out, they're actually able to just focus on the game and focus on each other without worrying about kind of fitting him into the system?
I think that happens on teams like, say, like the Pelicans, when you have a Zion coming in and you fully expect him to be your star, your standout star. You expect him to be the one that carries the team, and then all your focus goes to that. And you forget that you do have other talent on the team. And then now when he's out, it's like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. What am I supposed to do? I think when you have teams like that. But like I said, the Warriors are an established team. Yes, Klay's hurt and Draymond's not playing at, you know, the level that we're used to him playing, but they are still an established team. So they should be able to kind of just work him in as needed. And it's not, to me, what's happening is Steph is stepping up in a way that we haven't seen before. It's not that they've all of a sudden got exponentially better because James Wiseman is out. It's because Steph Curry is having an amazing April. So if he goes back to next month and he's not having an amazing May, and then, you know, then what does it mean? Because now you can't blame it on the fact that James Wiseman is out, because if they go back to maybe not winning so much and Steph is just having a normal May instead of this amazing April that he has, then what's the narrative? You know what I mean? Because now you can't blame it on him being out, because now he's still out, and what are you guys doing then? You know, so I just think when you have a rookie like this, or it could be too that perhaps the Warriors' expectations for him were too high. And then or maybe our expectations as media, what we saw from him and what we expected from him going into this situation, maybe our expectations were too high. But where he's at as a rookie is not horrible. And so it's too soon to call him a bust. But it is possible that all of our expectations were a little too high for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, not every rookie is going to. Obviously, Zion's rookie year was cut short due to his injury, but when he was playing, it was spectacular. We saw John Morant pretty much carry the Grizzlies in his rookie year, and not every rookie is going to be like that. It definitely takes time to adjust going from college to the professional league. But do you think that it would be wise for the Warriors to consider how well they are playing without James Wiseman as they move forward and compete for a playoff spot?
I mean, I'm always the one who kind of goes with, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if you're having this kind of success now and you feel like you can continue having this success and possibly level up in a play-in situation, then I say go with what's working. But at the same time, I just don't, I don't see him bringing down the Warriors. That's just not where I'm at. But I am definitely, like I said, team, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you guys are on this, if you're grooving together now, if you found your groove with this bunch, then you stay with this bunch and you don't mess that up.
Yeah, I think that would be a smart move too, especially how they had such a rocky start to the season. And it's not necessarily James Wiseman's fault, but if they have found this groove and they've kind of fallen into this sort of like smooth sailing situation where Steph is able to go out there and do what he does and really, make that impact on the court, I think that it's wise for them to keep that momentum going. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the Patriots. So the Patriots do need help at the quarterback position. So Cam Newton's first year with the team wasn't, all rainbows and butterflies. It wasn't the most successful thing, but they still did choose to bring him back for a second season. And now the NFL Network is reporting that the Patriots have been making some calls behind the scenes in an effort to move up to draft Justin Fields, the Ohio State quarterback. They said, quote, several teams have been making calls about getting into the top 10 of next week's NFL draft, including the Patriots, who could have their eyes on Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields if he begins to slide. He could go as high as number 3 to the San Francisco 49ers, but it's looking right now like they're going to go with Mac Jones. And he was once considered the second quarterback available in the draft, but his stock has dropped a little bit, and he's now lower than Zach Wilson and Mac Jones. And that drop in his stock value could actually put him in the perfect position to go to the Patriots. So do you feel like this is a similar situation as to what we are seeing with the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo, or is this a completely different beast here?
I think it's similar. I mean, even though, I think we all still have faith in Jimmy Garoppolo's talent just because he's been plagued by other issues. It's a similar issue. You have a quarterback that you just don't have faith in, period. And unfortunately, when you don't have faith in that quarterback, you have to prepare for the future. I think that Cam should be very understanding of this situation because by his own admission, he didn't perform well last season. And, I said going into this situation, I said this is the worst possible situation for him to go to because you're filling the shoes of Tom Brady. Those are impossible shoes to fill. So anything less than a stellar performance is going to be, it's not going to be received well. So I think Cam should be very understanding of this situation. Hopefully, he sees it as an opportunity for two things because he's not the Cam that he used to be. That's number one. And as much as we would love him to be that, he's not. So he's at the tail end of his career right now. So I would love for him to just kind of embrace this and go in there and understand that this is how the business works. Every team has gone through this, no matter what the situation is. Quarterbacks usually age out. Tom Brady is a anomaly, but quarterbacks usually age out of their position and their talents start to decline. And then the team starts to want to have you there. This is the right way to do it. Let me say that because I hate when a young quarterback goes in and now he has to carry that franchise. That is the worst position for a young quarterback to be in my opinion. The best situation for a young quarterback to be in is to be able to sit there, learn the system, learn the business of the NFL because you've been in school this whole time and the NFL is a business. Learn the business of the NFL, learn the playbook, learn the day-to-day, learn the travel schedule. All of these things are a little bit different than what you went through in college. So this is the best situation for a rookie is to be under Cam. And Cam needs to understand that this can go his way too. He can build up the faith that the team has in him, but he can also know that, that he also can mentor a young guy. And if he goes in there and he's humble and he's not egotistical about it, I think the attitude will go a long way too. It'll probably take some of the pressure off of him, but he needs to go in there and play some of the best football possible. But from a business standpoint, this is exactly what the Patriots are supposed to do. It's exactly what the 49ers are supposed to do. The 49ers are just doing it in a weird way. We'll talk about that a little bit in the post-up, but this is exactly how it works. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make sure as a team, you're not high and dry when the day comes that you have to look at your quarterback and say, this ain't working. Who's up next? You have to be in the position to give the next guy a shot.
And I think that, at least this is my interpretation of it, I think that these last, 2 or 3 seasons, Cam Newton has been humbled. I think that he's, kind of been confronted with this, the reality that he's not like the star quarterback that he once was or whatever. So I think that he is able to be a little bit more modest going into the season, and that actually could present a great situation for a rookie to come in like Justin Fields and learn. So I agree with you 100%. But do you think, Jackie, that having another quarterback kind of lined up and ready to go is actually going to put more pressure on Cam Newton to perform better and that we actually might get a better season out of him because of this?
I think the pressure that Cam is going to put on himself is when he watches the tape from last season and sees how horrible he is. I think he's been in that situation where he's been the young kid coming in. He knows what that's like. And I don't think anybody's going to put more pressure on Cam Newton than Cam Newton puts on Cam Newton, because I think he should be very disappointed in what he presented to that franchise when he looks at the tape. There's been some situations we talked about last season where they were in a position to win and Cam lost it for them. So he's going to have to be his worst critic. The pressure from having a young guy behind him should not intensify his own criticisms of himself. It should make him understand that this is a perform or quit kind of situation, but it shouldn't add to the pressure that he's already putting on himself. Because as a person who competes in competitive sports, I know when you look back at stuff and you look at how terrible you are and you can fix it in your head, but you notice that you did not fix it in that moment, that it eats away at you. It really does. It eats away at you in a way that there's nobody who can make you feel worse about that situation than you feel about it yourself. So I think that his biggest critic is going to be him. Yes, of course, having somebody behind him that's ready to step in is going to add a little bit of pressure, but not anything more than what he gives to himself at all.
And then what about this being a slap in the face for Cam? Now, we know that Jimmy Garoppolo was pretty upset to learn that the 49ers were kind of like gearing up to find his replacement. Do you think that Cam views it as a slap in the face at all, or is he understanding of it? And do you think that in general with quarterbacks, they would feel like it's a little bit of a betrayal when a team does start looking for their successor?
Well, Cam can't look at it that way because they only put him on a 1-year contract. So they never said, just by contractually speaking, they never said, hey, you're our guy. They've always gone into this that's in a way that said, we'll see if you're our guy. So there's no slap in the face. They've been very open and very honest with, they want to try it out. They want to see. They've been open about it this season the same way. We want to try it out. We want to see. But contractually speaking, they've been very transparent that this is you got to come in here and prove yourself. So he can't take it as a slap in the face because they've been open and honest from day one, which is crazy when you think about it, when we say Patriots, open and honest in the same sentence. So they've been very transparent with him, and he can't take it. Jimmy's taking it that way because he was always fed this narrative that you are our guy. We are going to ride with you until the wheels fall off. You are going to be the one to take us to the promised land. That is what they fed him. And now they're saying, oh, remember when just kidding. We don't really know if we feel that way. That's a little bit different than Cam's situation. A 1-year contract lets you know that this is a let's see what happens kind of situation. So he just can't take it the same way.
So we got a comment in the chat from JD, and since we have a little bit of time, I just want to get your response to this. He says, Jackie, I really disagree with the fact that he played bad. He had no weapons and no O-line. I respect your opinion, though. He also caught COVID. Terrible and garbage is a stretch. Now, I do think it's important to acknowledge how COVID might have affected his respiratory system, which would in turn affect his stamina. So there is that point. But what do you have to say about all these other points that JD just brought up?
So he's not wrong. JD, you're not wrong. Cam didn't have any weapons. The problem with that situation, and again, I have to go back to what I said when Cam was going to New England. That excuse doesn't fly in New England because Tom Brady is the kind of quarterback that can make meh talent look really good. And that's what that organization expects. That's what that fan base expects. They expect you to be the guy that levels up everyone around you, because you flip out, even in Tom Brady's last season, you flip out Tom Brady with another quarterback, you might see a similar situation, because it's just not who that franchise is. That franchise has always worked very well as a team. Tom Brady has leveled up everyone on that team. And I think for Cam Newton, that's what was expected as well. I 100% agree with JD that he did not necessarily have that level of talent, but we've seen players leave New England and go to other teams, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, okay, well, maybe he's not that good, because that's just how good Tom Brady makes you look. So I definitely 100% agree with that. And COVID is horrible. We've heard. I have a friend who had it 7 months ago, and sometimes can taste stuff and sometimes can't. And he literally only had it for 3 weeks. So I'm definitely not going to take away from that narrative that we still don't know the long-term effects of COVID and how that could play into anyone's respiratory or anyone's just psyche in general. And I see Blake in the chat say, don't use COVID as an excuse. Blake, for you to say that, you've clearly never had it and you don't know anyone who has had it, and the havoc that it wreaks on your body and just your mental state when you do have it. So definitely it's not an excuse, and it's a fact that it does affect you in some way. So I'll give you that as well, JD, but it still doesn't change the fact that the Patriots expect what they expect. And there's no way around that. When you walk into that organization, you need to know that they expect what they expect. And there's not much else you can do with that.
Yeah, following in the footsteps of Tom Brady wasn't going to be easy for anybody. It could have been the most amazing quarterback ever, and it wasn't going to be an easy journey because Tom Brady was such a staple of that franchise for such a long time. And he is this weird, bizarre, magical alien creature that like has this ability to like change everybody around him, even if they're not that good. So it was always going to be an uphill battle for anybody who came into that position. And of course, we all had high hopes for Cam Newton. We knew that the standard is really high for the Patriots, but we had high hopes for him. He unfortunately fell a little flat, but I think that I think that going into the next season, he will, like I said, have that humility to be able to recognize, what his place is within the organization. But that wraps up. Oh, do you have anything else you want to add, Jackie?
Just one more thing, because Cam Newton, if you follow him on social media, he hasn't really posted much thus far this season. But when he was going into trying to prove that he should be back in the NFL, his workouts are crazy, and that he definitely is putting in the work off the field. I think the problem one of the things we forget about Cam Newton outside of COVID is how badly the Carolina Panthers drove his body to the ground. They literally used him for all he was worth and then got rid of him. So no matter what happens in his career from now on, he's going to have an uphill battle because that's always going to be a lingering thought in the back of people's minds, regardless of everything else. And I see you guys in the chat talking about defensively, the Patriots weren't good. Absolutely. But I always consider the quarterback the driving force of any team. So Cam Newton has to own that, and he has to embrace that in a way that he goes out there. Because look, if your defense goes out there and they're not defending, they're not getting any turnovers, every time the defense is on the field, the other team is scoring, then guess what you can do now? You can place that squarely on the shoulders of the defense. But when your offense is failing as well, then no one's going to really talk about the defense that much. It's going to be the offense under Cam Newton didn't perform. And so he's just got to own that, and he's got to get in there, and he's got to do a lot better. And then, like I said, he needs to figure out. One of the things that I didn't like about Cam last season is I didn't see any kind of modification in the way that he played. He still wants to be the Cam Newton of old, and that Cam Newton is no more, because it's just your body doesn't even want you to play like that anymore. You have to modify your playing style in a little ways. So I'm hoping he does do in the offseason what I've seen him do before, and really kind of look inward and then just come out, a better Cam Newton. Because there's nobody I want to succeed more than Cam Newton. So, and I would love his barber to succeed at some point, but that's another story.
That is another story. Yeah, the barber does need to switch things up a little bit with Cam, because that man is so handsome, but that hair, I cannot get behind it. But Jack,
I just want to be like, "Hey Cam, how you doing, baby?"
Here's the hat.
Right. No shade though. He's still fine, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, he is a good-looking man. It's just not a fan. It's kind of like the Weeknd's hair, how it used to be back in like 2015 or something like that. Just not a big fan. Jackie, one last question for you. So we're going to be talking about the NFL draft all week. We've already done a lot of talking about it, and it's only Tuesday. But with all these new stories and these new narratives about picks, do you expect to be surprised by any teams?
So not necessarily. The only one that I'm really anxious to see is who this echo's getting me, who the 49ers pick up, because I do expect the 49ers to pick up a quarterback. But like I said, what is his name? I forget his name now. But the guy, Mac Jones, yes. He was the one that I expected the 49ers to pick up, but I also think that he's the one that his mama was speaking for him. So if they skip over him, that's going to confirm my theory. So that's the one I'm really waiting to see, is if they skip over him and go with something else or an entirely different situation, because I do read the San Francisco newspaper sometimes because my sister lives there and she works for them. But that's all that they've been talking about is Mac Jones, Mac Jones, Mac Jones. So if they skip him, it's his mama's fault. I'm going to believe that. So.
Oh, yep. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. But then again, just to talk about basketball for a second, we have somebody like LeVar Ball who is always doing talking for his kids, and that doesn't seem to necessarily have negatively impacted LaMelo or Lonzo. So who knows?
Right.
Maybe they'll be able to look at it.
We live in a society that a man talking too much is okay. A woman, yeah, I don't. They're not going for that. They are not going for that.
You know what? That's actually a good point, Jackie. I didn't even consider that. I was just thinking parents in general. That would be a very interesting comparison or contrast to see if Mac Jones does not go to the 49ers. We could probably say that it's because of his mom, but with LeVar and all the talking that he has done on national talk shows and interviews to ESPN, on podcasts, it still doesn't seem to have made any sort of negative impact on either of his son's career trajectories. So very interesting. We'll see what happens with all of that. But like I said, we have NFL draft content coming out throughout the week. So make sure you all are staying tuned in for all of that. And that wraps up Need to Know News. So Jackie, what is happening in the post up?
All right, you guys, let's get into the post up. I see you in the chat. JD, you said that the 49ers are going to draft Mac Jones or Trey Lance. You are absolutely right. But Mike Shanahan just needs to say that because he is the most. I actually like Shanahan. You know, his dad was the coach for the Broncos for a while. I got to meet him on several occasions. So I'm actually cool with the Shanahans. He was quite nice to me. But my guy, can you not be this creepy when somebody asks you what's going to happen at the quarterback situation? I know I'm the first one to tell you guys that tomorrow's not promised to any of us. So live your best life today. This is taking that thought a little too far. So take a listen.
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday. So I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us.
When I saw this, I had to play it back. Like, did he just say, I don't know who's going to be alive on Sunday? And he's using that as an excuse to not give us just say, you know what, we're working that out in-house and that's it and that's all. Don't talk about, well, somebody might be dead by Sunday. That is creepy. It is morbid and it is weird. And their tight end, George Kittle, had the best response to this because it makes him feel like, okay, it's what we're doing now. We checking in to make sure we're alive. He says, I'll call you on Sunday to let you know I'm alive, coach. That is embarrassing when your tight end steps in and lets you know how stupid you sound. This was a lot for me, but another person just said what I said, you know, stop being so vague, you know, just say you're drafting a QB and that he won't be starting. It's a better way and less of a creepy answer. I totally agree. Is it just me? I thought that answer was creepy as hell. Devin, what did you think about his response to that?
I thought it was creepy too. I thought it was very morbid and dark, but I feel like he thought he was being super deep. You know, he's like, oh yeah, can't guarantee tomorrow. It's like, no, bro, just give us some vague, elusive answer about what you plan on doing or whatever. Don't talk about death and tomorrow. It's so dumb.
And it's the worst because considering all we went through in 2020, the people we lost, all that we went through, and the death that's just plaguing our society right now, you say this? Bless his heart. I know he was trying. And that's what creeps me out more is that he actually put some thought into, I'm going to say this. It's just tragic. But speaking of tragedy, I think there's no bigger tragedy in the world than Cleveland post LeBron. And Kevin Love is just he was one of my favorites. He still is. I still love Kevin Love because he's stayed in that franchise. He just signed this huge contract, but I'm like, now he's seems like he just definitely doesn't want to be there. He played for 24 minutes last night. He was 3 for 9 from the field and 0 for 4 from beyond the arc. He did have 7 rebounds though, but other than that, he was pretty much non-effective. And he looked like he just didn't want to be there. But this one is weird. So I'm just going to let you know what's happening in this situation. So there's less than 40 seconds left in the game at this point, and the Cavs are down by 6. So of course, you inbound it real quick, and maybe you get a 2 3-pointers in it, you know, something. You could still possibly win the game with 40 seconds left in the game. Just know that. But watch what Kevin Love does in this moment. Take a look.
Here's this play I was talking about. Just good hustle. What is Kevin Love doing?
He's just batting it.
My goodness.
Yeah,
that's odd.
Let me, Leo, play it one more time because I want y'all to see what he does when the ref hands him the ball to inbound it. He's like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum. He just hits it. He just swats it. I can't make it make sense. It's just it. So then I go on Twitter, of course, and then there's this whole battle about why this is okay. I'm like, this is not okay. And then this person says, with all due respect, bro, don't want to be there. I don't care if you don't want to be there at this point. At least pull a Kawhi and fake an injury and be like, oh, I can't come back. Don't just go on the court and literally sabotage your team. I don't like this at all. I have another tweet from somebody who says something. I can't remember what this next tweet is, but I think I have one more tweet. But maybe I don't. Maybe that's it. Maybe he just doesn't want to be there. And I don't really care, though. I don't care if you don't want to be there. You literally gave the ball back to the other team. I don't know. Devin, what do you think about all this?
I think that Kevin Love he just recently got engaged. His personal life is thriving. His team sucks. I think that he's just kind of like, his head is somewhere else. I don't think that he's focusing on the game anymore. I mean, I follow him on Instagram. I feel like I rarely see him ever even posting about basketball. But then when you look at all of these other guys, they're posting about like LeBron's always posting about the games and all these other athletes are. So I don't know. I just sort of feel like maybe his head is somewhere else. And maybe I'm just missing his basketball posts. You know how the algorithm is. Sometimes it just doesn't show you stuff. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But he's getting paid big money. And I think that he does need to step up and show up for his team, even if the outcome is never going to be what he wants it to be.
So, and I see you guys in the chat. You're absolutely right. This is not the first time he's done this. There was a time last season. I can't remember who they were playing. I want to say maybe the Pacers or something. I don't know. I can't remember who they were playing. But they were down to, Kevin demands the ball. He grabs the ball and he just throws it hella hard, like way past the teammate, just in frustration. And I agree with that. He's done this before, which is shameful. I saw another tweet. It went past me. So, here it goes. Kevin Lang. So this is the thing. And while I applaud Kevin Love for being very open about his mental health, Kevin Lang in the chat says he'll blame it on bipolar disorder. So that's one of the things that you will have to deal with when you come out about any mental issues, because that's a very valid point. People are all going to say that, oh, if he comes out now, people will say, why did you do this? Whether it's true or not, he can fall back on this, bipolar situation. And that is not the narrative you want to play. You don't want to paint this picture of people don't know what your behavior is going to be like because you have this mental, issue. And that's the only thing that I always kind of caution players when they talk about their mental health, is you don't want people to say, oh, this is the reason why they're not playing well. And you don't want to be able to fall back on that either, because now people are just going to look at it like it's an excuse. It's not a real thing. So Kevin Love, my guy, you need to do better, because this is ridiculous. But let's move on to bigger and better things and the Lakers. So you guys know Anthony Davis is back. He is definitely working up to full speed. He's not quite there yet, but he did have his most points last night that he's had since he's been back. So he got 18 points. And in the post-game interview, though, it was interesting because you guys know they went down to Orlando. So in the post-game interview, Anthony Davis was talking about how Kyle Kuzma kind of has some Orlando PTSD. So take a listen.
It's funny you say that, because when we first landed and we were driving to the hotel, Kuz sent a text to our player chat and said, guys, sorry, I'm reminiscing. I just looked to the left and seen one of the rides that, he's seen for 100 straight days in a bubble out his window. And he said he just got kind of, nervous just being back here, and felt like we were in a bubble all over. So
that is funny to me, because Kyle Kuzma basically confirmed that. He said, yeah, I had some issues coming back, and he posted this tweet that said, true, I saw Animal Kingdom out my eye and I got a random twitch, PTSD. I would imagine that's probably not even like funny, haha, but it's like, oh my God, we're back here. So now all of a sudden Orlando, and this being this magical place, not so magical when that's all you see out of your window for 100 days. At least I think. Devin, what do you think about this?
I mean, yeah, I feel like when you're forced to quarantine at any place, it could be Disney World, it could be the Bahamas, you're going to start like resenting the space around you because you just can't go anywhere else. So I totally think that these guys probably experience some sort of PTSD. It's like, I mean, PTSD on a minor level, but it's like when you find a food that you like so much and then you eat it all the time, and then one day you're so grossed out by it that you can't even look at it the same anymore. Like, that happens. You can love something too much, you guys.
It is possible. It's definitely possible. I see you guys in the chat too. Y'all mad that I said Kawhi's faking that injury. No, he didn't. He was limping. First of all, let's be clear. Kawhi was faking it at the end, and I'm not going to apologize, Mark Law. You be mad all the time. You're going to be stay mad squared. So once he was cleared by his doctors to come back, he went out of his way to circumvent that and found doctors who said he wasn't able to come back. And he did that because he wanted out of San Antonio. That man faked it. I put the emphasis on the fake, so you know I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to do that. No, you need to go watch that whole situation. But yes, I see you stay mad squared. Welcome to your new nickname. So let's go on to this new one about Russell Westbrook, because this one has not been received well by people on Twitter because he is on the Wizards. So once again, the Wizards lost to the Spurs 146-143. This has always been that interesting thing about the Wizards. They always get so close, but never quite gets over that hump. So in this game, though, Russell Westbrook posted his 12th triple-double in a month. So he's passing Wilt Chamberlain's 1968 record of most triple-doubles in a month. That's amazing that he's just breaking these old records. But, of course, people are saying the same thing you guys say in our chat about, he's just stat padding or whatever. And Russell is tired of hearing it, and he's going to let y'all know he's tired of hearing it. And I approve this message. You tell him, Russ. Take a listen.
The thing is that for me, I take pride, like I said, every single night and leaving it all on the floor. I honestly believe there's no player like myself. And if people want to take it for granted, sorry for them. But I'm pretty sure if everybody could do it, they'll do it. And I honestly make sure that I impact the game in many ways every night, defending, rebounding, passing, assisting, whatever it is that my team needs for me to be able to win. And that's what I do. I really don't, honestly, Cass, I don't care what nobody thinks about it. I don't care if somebody thinks it is, whatever they want to call it, stat padding or not useful. I mean, I think it's very interesting that it's not useful now that I'm doing it, It wasn't useful when Magic and Oscar and those guys were doing it. But now that I do it and it looks easy, this shit ain't easy though. I'll tell you that.
Right. And that's the part. It's not easy. And the thing is he's not. And when people say he's a stat patter, I always say those are people who really don't understand basketball, because in order to get those triple doubles, you have to be a team player. You have to be getting those assists as well. You have to be playing defense. You have to rebound. So people who say that somebody who is constantly getting triple doubles is a stat patter doesn't really understand the game. And I love Russ for saying, you know what, those of y'all who don't understand the game and are saying I'm a stat patter, I need you to know I don't care what y'all say. I'm going to continue to do what I do. I'm going to continue to go out on the floor and play the best basketball that I can. And I'm going to do that until the wheels fall off. And I love that. But of course, this caused this whole Twitter beef on social media. And then this first person says he isn't lying. No one is really going to be like him. And after all he's accomplished, he's going to go down as a legend. Totally agree with that. And then this person says he's a legend, but it's strange to me that he's acting arrogant now, especially after a loss. Y'all need to understand the difference between arrogance and being fed up with the nonsense that people say. This isn't him being arrogant. This is him being tired of people saying, well, so what he's doing doesn't matter, as if he should stop playing this good, number one, or if he shouldn't take pride in what he's doing and continue to try to level up his play, or saying something as moronic as he's just stat padding. He's tired of those people. He's not arrogant. He's fed up. There's a huge difference. And I appreciate him letting us know that what he's doing is not easy, because if it was easy, everyone else would do it. So let's move on to this next one, because this next one is my favorite post up. I am so happy that I dwell in the kingdom, and because the kingdom never lets me down. They always, when I have an idea, they usually have already beat me to it. And this is one of those things I didn't even think of until late last night. I said, in the morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go on Yelp and I'm going to leave a horrible Yelp review for that bar that said, oh, you know, we're going to ban LeBron James. We're not going to play any more NBA games until LeBron James is out of the league, blah, 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 the nonsense that idiot said. So I was like, I'm going to do that in the morning. And then I see this on the rundown and I'm like, man, the kingdom be on it. So that's exactly what they did. They went to Yelp and they have ruined this man's Yelp rating. It's hilarious to me. And this is, when I tell you, I've only got 4 little screen grabs of this. This goes on and on and on. This first person says, what's the point of being open with the NBA game, with no NBA games to drink to? Next. And then they don't want to show the games. They kicked my grandma in the knee for turning on the NBA. And that one got 6 likes. I love that. This one says, terrible. They spit in my food. Bad drinks. Horrible vibe. Very low class owners. Stay away. It's spiders and roaches in there. I wouldn't trust a thing. Man, it just keeps getting better and better. But horrible, would give 0 stars. Dirty and rude, would not recommend. And then this person said, regulars and bar staff are extremely rude and the place is filthy. I can't believe it. And then this one is my absolute favorite. That's why this one is going to stand alone, and said, wish they would leave politics out of dining. Kingdom. Or LeBron sexuals, as they call it. Y'all do me proud, man. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of y'all. Devin, I'm still going to go in there and leave my review, though. Even though I'm late to the party, I'm still going to go do it. But Devin, is this not a beautiful thing?
It's a beautiful thing. Such a beautiful thing. And it's so funny how LeBron is such a polarizing person in the world of basketball. You have the people that do this, and then the people who just absolutely cannot stand him and they hate him and everything that he says and does. To me, it's hilarious. You guys know where I stand on all of this. I'm a bronzexual, not as diehard as Jackie is, but I can relate and I appreciate the support of the kingdom.
Yes, I can't wait. Fun fact, I don't have a lot of burner accounts. I only have 1 Twitter burner account and I have 2 Instagram burner accounts. But I have like 5 Yelp burner accounts because when I get bad service, I need to make an impact on that. So I have 5 Yelp burner accounts. There's going to be 5 new posts at the end of this show. So just so you I am one of those people that leaves scathing Yelp reviews. I don't call the manager though, so I'm good on that. But let's move on to this next one, because this one, we all kind of thought that maybe Paul Pierce was lying or embellishing when he was like, I'm good. I'm not tripping on this whole ESPN thing. But let me tell you, because I told you guys before, my brother owns a grow shop, and this is phenomenal what Paul Pierce is doing. I think he's not lying. I think he's chilling. I think he is unfazed. So that's what this first person tweeted about Paul Pierce, that he is just unfazed by this situation. I want you to take a look at this video of how unfazed he is.
Over here in the lab, baby. In the lab.
That is so impressive to me, because a lot of people just don't understand the hard work, the time, and the science that goes about making a crop like that. So if that is his new business venture, I am all for it, because now you don't have to worry about being in the public eye and not being who you are. You can do something you love, and just live your best life. I am all for this, and I think this next user agrees with me on this. That just made me happy to see. He says, dog, I am screaming. He got fired from Disney to pursue in a grow house. The smartest stuff ever. Laughing my butt off. I agree with this. Sometimes I think we as the normal folks in the world, we just get a little too starstruck. But you can really probably lead your best life outside of the public eye, because then you don't have to worry about what people think about you. You can kind of just do you. I love this. Congratulations, Paul Pierce. I think this is one of the best things I've seen in a long time. So congratulations to him. Let's move on to this next one, because we talked about this a little bit this whole week, I feel, and a little bit of last week, but we're going to revisit these jersey numbers because some of the reactions around the league are funny. I already told you that Tom Brady thinks it's dumb, but let me go over the rules with you, because Bleacher Report, if you don't know them, Bleacher Report posted this on their Instagram, on their Twitter. It says NFL reactions to new number rules. So here's how it goes. Quarterbacks can now wear 1 through 19, wide receivers 1 through 49 or 80 to 89. That's the dumbest thing ever. Running backs 1 through 49 or 80 to 89. Tight ends, same thing. DBs 1 through 49. Linebackers 1 through 59. or 9 to 99. The hell? And then O linemen can 50 to 79, defensive linemen 50 to 79 or 90 to 99. It's the dumbest thing ever. We already know Tom Brady said it's done. But my boy Alvin out here saying too much. He's saying too much. He said, why would I want to wear 99 when 69 exists? See, this is why. This is why. So that was a good, because I went to see if 69 is banned. Because in the NBA you cannot wear number 69. No one in the NBA has ever worn the number 69. Dennis Rodman had requested it at one point, but they were like, nah, that's a sexual innuendo. You can't wear that. I looked, but I just skimmed through it. I didn't do my deep investigative. I didn't see anything that said you can't wear number 69. And if you can, somebody is definitely going to wear number 69. I can promise you that. But other players reacted to this as well. We have this next one, of course, from our boy Stephon Diggs. He says, I can't change my number. All the people that spent their hard-earned money supporting the 14, I got to keep it. This I love, because now it's not about you. It's about people bought this number because they love you, and you don't want to make their jerseys obsolete. So I actually love this one as well. And then we have a few more comments. So I don't know if you can see that first one is from Darius Leonard from the Colts. And he said, all they want is our money. That's why they fine us so heavily for bull like socks and cleats. And then, of course, Jerry Jeudy from the Broncos just said, wow. And that's the thing. I think players are just more flabbergasted, because at first they was all excited about this, but then when they find out they have to pay for it, I don't think anyone's as excited about this, nor should they be. But don't be surprised. I better see a rule very quickly that says 69 is out, because don't be surprised. There's going to be a 69 on everybody's team. If they don't make that illegal, I'm just going to let you know that now. Devin, what do you think? Is it illegal for them to wear that 69? Because I didn't see that. I didn't see it.
No, I didn't see that it was illegal either. And that the funny guys in the league are definitely going to be wanting to sport that number. They probably should. But you know how the NFL is. They'll probably wait until it's too late before they decide to ban that number. Or next year, whatever, it's going to be like, oh, actually, now you have to buy all your 69 inventory because we're banning that. And you got another new number.
I would hope that they have already banned that. But if they haven't, they deserve this. And then they deserve it. Several people wearing 69. They deserve every piece of that. So I don't know. I didn't see that it was illegal, but we shall see. But now that's all I got for the post up. So let's move on into, oh no, I'm lying. My favorite one. I almost forgot my favorite little baby Kyrie moment, which is just so dope. Now this young lady, she's out here, she's doing her thing. I think I got an initial tweet from her. So this one says, okay, then Kyrie Irving, and it's a girl, and how she just embarrasses this dude, this little boy. Y'all take a look.
I love it.
That was the best. First of all, hitting him in the face, and he's just like, oh. And just totally smoking him. I would have been so proud. So proud. Devin, what did you think when you saw that?
Love that. I love seeing little girls just doing so well at sports that are typically seen as boys' sports. Of course, there are so many female basketball players, but we still, I think, picture a man playing basketball more often than we do a woman. And I love seeing a little girl go out there and just absolutely crush it.
Yeah, and the biggest compliment you can get when you're playing ball is for you to cross somebody over like that and people say, oh, and run away. Because that means, I ain't gonna say, that was just amazing. So that is like the biggest compliment you can get when you do something like that. And that's exactly what she got. And I loved every piece of that. I don't know the little girl's name, but I definitely want to find out. And like somebody said in the chat, we need to follow her career all the way to the WNBA, because I'm looking forward to that. But that was beautiful. But now that's all I got for the post up. And now we can get into what we not going to do. Because this one is interesting to me, because we know about the tweet that LeBron James posted about the officer that killed the 15-year-old black girl who did have a knife. But I've also talked several times, and if you want to see more examples, you can go to my Instagram, JRay the Fanatic, and I have all kinds of moments in time of white people having knives, guns, trying to ram cops with their car, and were safely taken into custody. So the difference between how black people are treated in this country by police versus how white people are treated in this country is astronomically different. The only way that you could not see that is if you don't want to see that and you are intentionally choosing to be willfully ignorant. That is the only way you would not be able to acknowledge that there is a very drastic difference in the treatment between black and white people in this country. So, excuse me, this officer, he's a 24-year veteran here in LA. Now, I could tell you story after story after story, excuse me, of the crazy treatment I personally have received from officers here in LA that was unjustified, unwarranted. I do not have a good opinion about LAPD. Let's not forget Rodney King happened here. So I don't have a good opinion about Los Angeles police. That being said, a lot of people are calling this letter that this 24-year vet that he wrote to LeBron. They're calling it an impassioned letter, a letter that makes sense, and things of that nature. I do not agree. I think that there is a lot of, again, willful ignorance that comes into play with this letter. So we're just going to kind of take this step by step because, again, he's trying to justify what Nicholas Reardon, who was only hired in 2019, this cop is trying to justify him killing this 15-year-old girl. And he says, again, I'm not reading the whole letter. If you want to read the whole letter, it is online. You can see it there. I'm just going to take some of the main parts from it. It says, what you do for children and other acts of charity shows a huge heart. You show to be a family man, and that's to be respected. You play for the team my family has cheered for since the 1960s, then myself since 1979. But your current stance on policing is so off base and extreme. Your tweet that targeted an Ohio police officer who saved a young woman's life was irresponsible and disturbing. It showed a complete lack of understanding of the challenge of our job in the heat of a moment. You basically put a target on the back of a human being. That just bothers me. I'm going to stop there. I was going to try to get all, but when he says you basically put a target on the back of a human being, it's as if he doesn't understand that once you're born as a black person in this country, there's automatically a target on your back from police. He's ignoring that moment in time and saying, oh, now that this man has reacted differently with a black woman than he would a white woman, you're making it a bad thing and you've put a target on his back. So he said you basically put a target on the back of a human being who had to make a split-second decision to save a life from a deadly attack. I'm going to say this again. This man has been on the force since 2019. If he has not been properly trained on how to de-escalate a situation specifically, and I need to take that a step further, I no longer think that cops need to be trained because we've seen that they can de-escalate situations. Again, if a white person has an AK-47, if he goes into a black church and shoots up people, if he's trying to use his car to ram people, all of these white people will be safely taken into custody. So they clearly know how to de-escalate the situation. They clearly know how to take white people who are in an escalated situation safely into custody. They don't know how to do that with black people. I can't help but think of Patrick Warner, who his family called and said, hey, he's having a mental crisis. And the first cop pulls up and he's trying to be helpful and he's trying to talk him down. The family calls back, asks for that same cop to come back. He doesn't come back. A different cop comes back and shoots him and kills him. Because when cops see black people, they automatically see a threat. So you need to be trained onto how not to see us that way. And I don't know how you train racism out of people that it's ingrained in them since before this country was even founded. I don't even know how you train that out of people. But his next little chunk of his letter says, I don't know if this will ever reach you, but my hope is that one day I can sit down with you and talk. As a man of faith, I can have no hatred towards you, but I do feel I can help you understand the reality of the profession of policing and that there is another side you need to hear. You are tired of black folks dying, so am I. You hate racism and police brutality, so do I. But you cannot paint 800,000 men and women of all races, faiths, sexual orientations, and are also mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, preachers, coaches, community members, and just human with such a broad and destructive brush. But see, I can though. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we've seen far too often, case in point, with the George Floyd situation. We had a white cop with his knee on George Floyd. We saw an Asian cop there, and there was another officer there as well. Nobody tried to stop him from being this evil person and doing what he did. And that's why I can't say that I believe that there's just a few that are a few bad apples that spoiled a bunch. I have to, at this point, say a few bad apples have spoiled the whole bunch, because nobody is holding each other accountable anymore. Nobody is saying what you're doing is wrong. Stop. There's not doing it. So let me go into this next part of his thing. He says, unlike some who have dug their heels in the belief that police are inherently evil, I don't think they're evil. I just don't think that they're good. And I definitely don't think that they belong in our communities, because you shouldn't be going into the communities of people you hate. I've always said it should be illegal for white cops to interact with black people. I have not changed that narrative yet. So he said, unlike some who have dug their heels into the belief that police are inherently evil, I think if you yourself actually sat down and had a real honest and open conversation with a cop, there is a strong chance you might discover we are not the monsters you have come to believe we are, who deserve the hate and disdain you have. And even if you come away feeling the same way, I could respect it, because at least you gave the other side your ear instead of only one narrative. The offer, and this next one said, the offer's on the table, LeBron, no cameras, no fanfare, just two men who care talking. I know it's a long shot, but this division and hatred must stop. It's clear, based on rising crime in marginalized community, that cops and the community need to build bridges to save lives on all sides. That cannot be done through the demonization of any group of people. So this is the officer who wrote this letter. Now, this is what's interesting to me, because I can't help but think about that lyric from the F the Police song that the NWA wrote, that Ice Cube said, the black cop showing out for the white cop. Because this cop is forgetting the military officer who was just berated, dragged out of his car, assaulted, and sprayed with mace. And then even from the body cams, we can see the officer saying, oh, well, we didn't know you were real military, even though he had his hands out of the window and he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't resisting any kind of arrest, but they did this to him anyway. We also know about the cop, I believe it was in Tennessee. It might've been Texas, either Tennessee or Texas, black guy who was out of uniform. He was pulled over. He was shot. Thankfully, he lived, but he was shot. As soon as they shot him and he identified himself as an officer, first thing they said to him was like, why didn't you identify yourself as an officer? Why do I have to identify myself as an officer? Why can't I just be a black man getting a normal traffic stop? Why am I getting shot? This is crazy. So for me, first of all, LeBron, I don't think you need to sit down with any officers. As a person who spent four years of my life working with the Denver police, I can tell you, you're not going to learn much more from the situation. All you're going to learn is that they really do believe blue lives matter. And that's a problem for me, because blue is not a life. It is a job. You can quit your job as a cop today and you can live your life peacefully. You can also kill somebody today as a cop, and that person is dead, and that life doesn't matter, and you will figure out a way to justify the killing of that person, especially when that person looks like me. It is unnerving. But LeBron, I know who you are as a person, and I know sometimes you hear these things and it resonates with you. So I would just tell you this. If you do sit down and talk with this man, you need to negate all he said about don't have any cameras present. You need to make sure that you get video documentation of this, because if you don't, he is going to spin the narrative a different way. He's going to say you came in there and you were all aggressive and you used your magnificent stature to make him feel small or less than, and you tried to intimidate him. I'm telling you right now, he's going to use this to spin you in a negative light in order to say, well, see, cops don't do this. Cops, we didn't go in here like that. And his whole statement about, communities of color, and we can see that we need more police. That is the dumbest. That is, again, the most willfully ignorant statement that anyone can make, especially when you know that scientifically, statistically speaking, when you drive money away from communities, crime increases. When you put money into the community and you create better schools, better job opportunities, you stop the food deserts, crime decreases. We don't need more cops. We need better neighborhoods. And I've said that before, we have to do that for ourselves. We can no longer go to cops or politicians or white America. This all falls on us because we see how they see us. There's literally a movie called that, How They See Us. And I think this is deplorable in my opinion. So what we're not going to do, LeBron, if you do entertain this, we're not going to do it without cameras. We're not going to let this man spin the narrative to make you something out that you were not to be. And for the record, you were right on that post. So that's all I got for what we're not going to do. Devin, what are your thoughts on this man's letter?
I mean, I thought it was quite interesting, Jackie, because as you were reading it, I was expecting it to be a white man who was coming to the defense of policemen so passionately. Yeah, I mean, I do think it is a very interesting situation. He talks about LeBron generalizing cops as a whole when, you know, what we've seen time and time again is that cops are generalizing Black people as a whole. And it's created obviously so much suffering and trauma for Black people. So I don't know. I find it very, very interesting. I was really surprised to see that. I think it would be a conversation that I would want to tune into to see how it goes if it does happen, if there are cameras present, which I also agree there should be, because I would like to see what that back and forth is like. I feel like it would probably be very enlightening for a lot of people, and that cop in particular, because LeBron is a really well-spoken and intelligent person, and I do really, you know, what he posts and the things that he says, they really do resonate with me, and I support what he says. So that's my take on it. I just think the whole thing was a bit of a surprise.
So I see Gabe in the chat, and he said, you just generalize cops as a whole. Here's the thing, Gabe, tell me the cops that are coming out and saying, hey, we need change. We need to make it so that there's consequences for any of our brothers because they're disrespecting the shield. You know, where are the cops that are standing up and saying, hey, at any time you shoot an unarmed person, you should automatically be fired and lose your pension, whether they lose their life or not? Where are the cops that are standing up and saying, hey, you know, if you get 4 or more reports of excessive force, you're automatically fired and you're losing your pension? Where are the cops that are demanding that the change within their own organization? And until I see that, you're absolutely right. I'm going to continue to generalize, because what I don't do is make excuses for anyone. Even if it's me, if I've done something wrong, I'll step up. If my brother has done something wrong, and I ride for my brother, y'all, but if he's done something wrong, I would step up and say that. I have yet to see a cop step up and say anything. In fact, in the George Floyd case, the cops that did speak out against it, they said this specifically was wrong. They did not denounce any of this other behavior that we've seen. They did not say, hey, we've seen this before, and to be honest, this needs to stop. They don't do that. And until police start policing their own, I'm going to continue the generalization of them, because I don't have respect for people who don't understand that there are some very bad apples in your organization. And like I said yesterday, every year the FBI releases a study on how the Ku Klux Klan continues to infiltrate police. And until they address that, you're absolutely right. Generalizations will continue.
There's generalizations happening on both sides. And I think to expect a Black person or someone like LeBron to not generalize cops when cops have generalized Black people for a very, very long time is just a little unreasonable. All right, you guys, let's wrap up the show for the day. We're going to be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as usual. So tap the bell for notifications so you know exactly when we are going live. Subscribe, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends. Try not to get too mad about one thing that we've said at the beginning of the show and then carry it on throughout the entire live segment. We talk about a lot of different things and we like hearing from you guys, so don't be so mad about Steph. Don't be so mad about Kawhi. It's really not that serious. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.